Top HFY Stories, Plans A to D. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tension as representatives from dozens of alien species argued over humanity's latest audacious move. The towering, insectoid Ulthar slammed his claw down on the polished stone table, demanding attention. This is preposterous. No other species in the galaxy would dare to attempt such reckless behavior. It's clear, humanity's unrelenting aggression is a threat to all. Across the table, Ambassador Jordan Reeves, humanity's representative, smirked faintly. She leaned forward, her voice calm but firm. "We're not a threat, we're adaptable. There's a difference." The Ulthar clicked its mandibles in irritation. "Adaptable? You call that adaptable?" A hologram sprung to life, displaying footage of a recent skirmish on a resource-rich moon. It showed human soldiers in exosuits employing wildly unconventional tactics against a larger, more advanced enemy force. The humans had no chance by conventional standards, outnumbered, outgunned, and cornered, but instead of retreating, they set off a chain of explosions that diverted a nearby lava flow to cut off the enemy reinforcements. They turned a volcano into a weapon. "Who does that?" the Ulthar demanded. Ambassador Reeves shrugged, still smirking. "Plan A didn't work, so we tried Plan B. When that didn't pan out, we moved on to Plan C and D. Improvisation is in our DNA." The reptilian Karvash delegate hissed in agreement. "Humans are dangerous because they refuse to give up. They think in ways no one else does. Their ingenuity is alarming." Jordan leaned back, crossing her arms. "You call it alarming, we call it survival. Humanity has faced extinction countless times, natural disasters, pandemics, wars, you name it. We learned early on that if Plan A fails, you'd better have Plans B, C, and D ready to go. And sometimes, you make up Plan E on the fly." The council erupted into murmurs. The aquatic Threx ambassador, its translucent body shimmering, gestured with a wave of its tentacles. "But this makes you unpredictable, dangerous. You are like the chaos of a rogue star." Jordan's expression softened. "Unpredictable, maybe, but isn't that what makes us valuable to the galaxy? Our willingness to think outside the box has saved lives, not just human lives, but others, too." When the Scourge invaded the Drell homeworld, who was it that came up with a plan to repel them? The Drell delegate, a small, fur-covered creature, nodded reluctantly. "It was humans. They weaponized their, what do you call it, a musical frequency, to disrupt the Scourge's hive mind. No other species would have considered such a thing." Jordan seized the moment. "Exactly. We're not perfect, but we bring something unique to the table. Plans A through D aren't just fallback options. They're a philosophy, a promise that we'll never stop fighting for a solution, even when the odds seem impossible." The room fell silent, the weight of her words settling over the gathered species. Finally, the Ulthar spoke again, his tone grudging. "Perhaps. This adaptability has its merits, but we will be watching, human, closely." Jordan smiled, her eyes gleaming with determination. "That's fine, watch us all you want. Just remember, when Plan A doesn't work, humanity always has something up its sleeve." The meeting adjourned, and as the delegates dispersed, whispers of humanity's audacity and brilliance filled the air. Across the galaxy, a new respect and wariness for Earth's finest had taken root. As the council meeting concluded, Ambassador Reeves returned to her quarters, the faint hum of the station's engines a comforting constant. She poured herself a glass of Earth whiskey and gazed out at the endless expanse of stars. "Plans A through D," she murmured with a wry smile. "We always end up using Plan E anyway." Her communicator buzzed, breaking her thoughts. She glanced at the screen. "Admiral Sato." "Ambassador, I hope I'm not interrupting," Sato said, his tone clipped. "Not at all, Admiral. What's the news?" The Ulthar weren't bluffing. "Our recon team intercepted encrypted transmissions. There's a growing coalition forming. They're preparing for contingencies. If we step out of line, they're ready to act." Jordan sipped her whiskey, unbothered. "Let me guess, they've got their Plans A through D lined up." "Something like that," Sato replied, "but we've got a problem. If they coordinate, their fleets could overwhelm even our best defenses. We might not get a chance to pull off one of our trademark improvisations." Jordan's smirk returned. "Admiral, you know better than anyone, improvisation isn't about luck, it's about preparation disguised as chaos. How are the Sagan protocols coming along?" Sato hesitated. "Experimental, we haven't field tested them yet." Then it's time to test, Jordan said firmly. We knew this day would come. The galaxy's afraid of us, but fear is a tool we can use. Let them plan, we'll keep adapting. The Sagan protocols were humanity's newest ace in the hole, a series of contingency strategies named after the visionary Carl Sagan. They ranged from advanced cyber warfare to decentralized fleet tactics, each designed to counter vastly superior forces. Jordan set down her glass. And Admiral, one more thing, leak the plans. Leak them? Are you sure? Absolutely, she replied. Let them see the breadcrumbs, make them think they've got us figured out. While they're chasing shadows, we'll be 2 steps ahead. Sato grinned. Classic human misdirection. Consider it done. Weeks later, the galaxy's coalition convened its first joint military exercise. Fleets from dozens of species gathered in a show of force, their drills a clear warning to humanity. Unbeknownst to them, humanity was watching. Hidden deep within an asteroid field on the edge of the system, a human stealth frigate observed every maneuver. Inside the ship, Captain Elena Vargas monitored the feed with quiet intensity. They're coordinated, I'll give them that, she muttered. Her XO, Lieutenant Chen, frowned. Do you think Reeves' plan will work? Letting them see our Sagan protocols was risky. Elena chuckled. Reeves doesn't deal in risk, she deals in inevitability. We didn't just let them see the plans, Chen, we let them see fake plans. They're practicing for fights we're never going to give them. As the coalition ships executed their drills, subtle disruptions began to emerge. Simulated maneuvers failed, systems lagged, and command signals grew erratic. Is that us? Chen asked, eyes wide. Elena nodded. Phase 1, a quiet hack into their training networks. They'll think it's just glitches. And Phase 2? Elena grinned. We let them implement those glitches into their actual combat systems. By the time they realize what's happening, we'll already be on Plan E. Back on Earth, Ambassador Reeves stood in the command center, watching as reports streamed in. Humanity's seemingly reckless gambit was working. The coalition was tangled in a web of misdirection, their trust in their own plans unraveling. Plans A through D, she said aloud, her voice tinged with satisfaction. They'll always be thinking about them. And Plan E? Asked a nearby officer. Reeves' smile widened. Plan E is simple. When they think they've caught up to us, we'll already be somewhere they never expected. That's the human way. Above her, the holographic display shifted to show the coalition fleets, unaware they were already playing into humanity's hands. As the coalition's massive fleets prepared for what they believed was an inevitable confrontation with humanity, the tension across the galaxy mounted. Species with millennia of history behind them, masters of strategy and technology, coordinated their forces like a vast, interconnected machine, but machines had flaws. Coalition War Room. The central command of the coalition buzzed with activity as their top generals and tacticians reviewed the latest intelligence. The humans are quiet, growled General Zavros, a hulking, armored reptilian from the Valak Empire. Too quiet, it's unnatural. They're likely overwhelmed, said Fleet Admiral Thress of the Lithari, her translucent form shimmering. Our combined might must be weighing on their resolve. Their strategies rely on unpredictability. If they're cornered, they'll falter. A young analyst, a wiry avian from the Kritzant species, hesitantly raised a wing. But, sirs, their silence could mean they're preparing something else. Humanity thrives under pressure, shouldn't we be? Enough, Zavros interrupted. We've anticipated every possibility. Their Sagan protocols were a gift, a detailed map of their weaknesses. Whatever they're planning, we're ready. Thress nodded in agreement. Deploy the fleet to Sector 7 Alpha, it's their only logical escape route. The coalition leaders were so focused on humanity's logical options that they didn't notice the subtle smirks exchanged between their human informants, plants from Earth's Covert Operations Division. Deep space, humanity's command hub. Far from the coalition's prying eyes, the UNS Resolute, humanity's flagship, drifted in the void. Admiral Sato stood before a massive holographic display, his command crew awaiting orders. The coalition has committed their fleets to the Alpha Corridor, he announced, exactly as predicted. A murmur of approval swept through the room. Captain Vargas, patched in from her stealth frigate, appeared on the calm screen. Good thing they're underestimating us, Vargas said with a sly grin. They think they've got us figured out, Ready to move to Phase 3? Sato nodded. Phase 3 is a go. You have the green light. From her stealth frigate, Vargas gave the command to activate a grid of dormant devices humanity had quietly seeded across the Alpha Corridor months earlier. Coalition Fleet, Alpha Corridor. As the Coalition's massive armada entered the sector, their ship's advanced sensors suddenly began feeding conflicting data. Targets appeared and disappeared, energy readings spiked, then dropped to nothing. What is happening? Admiral Thress shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos at the command center. A sudden burst of energy rippled through the sector, and thousands of holographic signals appeared, perfect replicas of human warships. Coalition scanners registered them as real, complete with heat signatures, energy outputs, and weapon locks. How did they? General Zavros roared, slamming his fists into the table. It's a trap, a technician cried. The Coalition fleet scrambled, firing on the false targets. Their massive weapons detonated harmlessly in empty space as the real human fleet, hiding just outside the sector, moved into position. UNS Resolute, bridge. Decoys are holding, reported Commander Lee, the ship's tactical officer. Coalition forces are fully engaged with phantom targets, their formation is breaking. Excellent, Sato said. Vargas, proceed with Phase 4. On her stealth frigate, Vargas grinned, with pleasure. A new set of devices activated, massive jamming fields that turned the Coalition's finely tuned communications network into white noise. Fleet commanders shouted orders into dead channels as their tightly choreographed plans dissolved into chaos. From their hidden vantage points, humanity's ships launched surgical strikes against key Coalition vessels. It wasn't brute force, it was precision, every move calculated, every shot deliberate. Coalition War Room. The command center was in disarray. Generals and admirals shouted over one another as reports poured in. Our ships are firing on ghosts. Communications are down. Several command ships are disabled. Humans are striking at critical nodes. Admiral Thress sank into her chair, her glowing form dimming. We were so focused on their plans, we didn't consider the possibility that they could outthink us at every step. General Zavros growled, his massive form trembling with frustration. They're not outthinking us, they're rewriting the rules. Final moments, Alpha Corridor. As the Coalition's fleet fragmented, the UNS Resolute moved into the heart of the sector. On its bridge, Sato stood tall, addressing the Coalition leaders directly through their still functional emergency channels. Attention, Coalition Command, this is Admiral Sato of Earth. Stand down immediately, or we will escalate. You've underestimated us, as you always do, but let me remind you, humanity doesn't win by playing fair, we win by playing smart. The Coalition's leaders, battered and humiliated, had no choice. One by one, their ships powered down, retreating from the sector. Aftermath. The galaxy buzzed with the story of humanity's latest triumph. It wasn't just a military victory, it was a testament to human ingenuity, adaptability, and relentless determination. In the quiet of her office, Ambassador Reeves received the news with a satisfied nod. Plans A through D, she said, sipping her whiskey. Always useful distractions, but Plan E, she smiled, that's where the magic happens. And in the endless expanse of space, humanity's reputation grew, not as the strongest or most advanced, but as the most unstoppable force the galaxy had ever seen.